Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'm just going to take a few minutes to explain the structure, kind of order of operations for tonight's event. Welcome to the CIDC Candidate Forum, our mini debate for the Democratic primary for next year's House election. Tonight's questions were developed with input from club members. Due to time constraints, we will not be taking additional questions from the audience, so we kindly ask that you refrain from raising your hand or interrupting. Thank you for being here and for engaging in this important process. Each candidate will have the opportunity to provide 1-minute introductory remarks, answer 4 questions in 2 minutes each, 3 of which all candidates will receive, 1 of which will be individualized. Participate in several rapid-fire questions and deliver 1-minute closing remarks. Each response will be timed. When 15 seconds remain, Lee will flash the yellow side of the paddle to signal that candidates should begin concluding their answer. The red side will flash when time has expired. Okay.
Anyone colorblind?
Accountability is important.
Maybe she should sit over here.
Okay. All right. We'll begin with answers in alphabetical order by candidate surname. Subsequently, the rotation has been structured so that each candidate will have an equal opportunity to respond first, second, and third. And here's a brief description of CD-2. New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District, based in southern New Jersey, comprises all or part of the following counties: Atlantic, Cape May, Cumberland, Gloucester, Ocean, and Salem. The district contains approximately 588,000 registered voters and is by far the largest in the state. It stretches from the Barnegat Lighthouse all the way to the Delaware Memorial Bridge. It takes 2 hours to drive from one to the other, which may not be a big deal in many parts of the country, but for a district in the Northeast is absolutely unheard of. On the Garden State Parkway, the district runs from mile 0 to mile 63, or more than 1/3 of the length of the entire roadway. Okay, so introductory remarks. Each candidate receives 1 minute, and the order will be Tim, Terry, and Bailey.
All right, so I hope you don't mind I stand.
Please.
Welcome to this forum, and thank you all for coming out. My name is Tim Alexander, and I am running for the 2nd Congressional District, as you just heard. This is not my first run at this position. In fact, I wasn't even interested in running anymore. But when the president presented his one big BS bill, and I know my personal story with my daughter, who was a police officer, she had contracted a virus. She had to step down from her job, and we were helping her with her bills, but we couldn't cover her health insurance, so she went on Medicaid. Ultimately, at 33 years of age, she had to have a heart transplant. It actually gets worse. So we had her moved over to Penn from Jersey Shore because we wanted her to have the best care, and we subsequently learned that Penn wouldn't cover, Medicaid, Pennsylvania would not cover it because she was from Jersey. Ultimately, my wife found and we spent all night trying to figure out what we had to sell to cover the $2.7 million for the procedure. I'm sorry, I ran out of time, but I will finish the story a little bit later.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Terri Reese. Thank you for having me here this evening. I am running for New Jersey's 2nd Congressional District to bring a real, authentic South Jersey girl voice to the halls of the Capitol. I'm a lifelong Atlantic County resident. I'm a single mom of 2 adult children. I was a retail store manager for 30 years in Atlantic County. I also left that job to become a full-time caregiver for my mom when she developed dementia. I've been unemployed, I've been on Medicaid, I've been without health insurance, so I have shared your struggles, I have shared, overcome the same obstacles and literally and figuratively weathered the same storms. And I'm running for office because at the beginning of the year when Donald Trump was inaugurated and we saw that he was going to start ruling by edict, I wanted to step up. I felt compelled to step up to represent my friends, my neighbors from South Jersey. Thank you.
Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you, South Jersey, for showing up for the Democratic Party earlier this month. My name is Bailey Winder. I'm running against Jeff Van Drew, or Jeff Van Who as I call him. I'm a fourth generation New Jerseyan. My career has been about public service and service to our nation. I learned from my family about the meaning of taking that oath, and I first took it at the State Department. I worked there under the Obama and first Trump administrations. I was an advisor to the FBI, and most recently I worked at USAID. I was at USAID up until earlier this year. When it got dismantled by a South African billionaire, I told myself this is a moment to fight for integrity, to fight for the right kind of politics, and to kick folks like Jeff Van Drew out of office. I'm running because South Jersey has been screwed by a system that puts working families below corporations and super PACs, and Jeff Van Drew is nowhere to be found while we all pay the price. You deserve better. I've held 3 town halls. I'm fired up about the road ahead, and I thank you so much.
Thank you. Now we're moving to the all candidate questions. Each question will be each answer will allow 2 minutes. The order will be, for question 1, Tim, Terry, and Bailey. In recent election cycles, Democratic candidates in CD-2 have struggled to secure full financial backing from the state party, often leaving campaigns underfunded from the start. If you are unable to receive that level of institutional support, how do you plan to compensate for the financial shortfall? And what strategies will you use to ensure your message reaches voters across this large and diverse district?
Thank you. And to that point, experience matters. So I have been that candidate who did not receive the support from the state party or DCCC. And let me clarify, the DCCC was very much involved in my first campaign, but then there was a strategy shift after the midterms, and they decided that they weren't going to support challengers, only incumbents. So I have learned not to rely on them. We have a fantastic fundraising team, better than I've had in my previous campaigns. We are chasing not corporate PACs, but PACs that align with democratic values. We know that that's where the majority of the money lie. I am not seeking any donations from millionaires and billionaires. I'm seeking donations from people who are on the ground, we're doing a real grassroots campaign. We get donations as low as $5, $25, but we get numerous donations. Last night I had my campaign launch. We had almost 150 people in that room. And they all paid a nice price to be there, and we called for additional donations, and they were able to step up and do that right on the spot. That's the type of grassroots campaign that we're going to do. The strategy is the PACs. The strategy is to make sure we hit the grassroots. We are going to seek the support of the state and the federal, but if they don't choose to do that, we cannot rely on them. South Jersey is too unique. Right now, I think they have a little bit of interest. In the past, they never did. So we're going to keep riding on that interest. I made a lot of friends in the last campaign. I know a lot of people. I'm talking about the Cheryl campaign because I was very much involved in it. In fact, I set my campaign aside to help Mikey Sherrill get in office because it was that important. And with that, I built a lot of relationships that are going to lead to fundraisers, lead to donations, all up and down the state. So we're super excited about our fundraising opportunities this cycle. We know we're going to raise the money that we need, with or without the state. Thank you.
I'm running a unique campaign. I understand the need for fundraising. I understand that I need materials and flyers and all of that going on. But I also understand that we have 3 of the 4 poorest counties in the state. And I don't think that it is conscionable to request people who are struggling to get by to donate money to political campaigns. I've also signed the Candidate Integrity Pledge. I was, up until just a couple days ago, the only candidate in the state of New Jersey that signed that pledge, foregoing all super PAC money, dark money nonprofits, special interest groups, and lobbyists. And I did that because I think that money in politics is what got us into the mess that we are in today. There was, I believe, 16 billion, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, that was spent in the last presidential election. And look what it got us. It got more and more credits and tax breaks for the billionaires, and it got the working class people literally and fairly screwed and going hungry. That's what we get when we allow money into politics. It's where the people who are best funded, not necessarily the best candidate who understands the people and the district that they want to represent, getting elected into office. I'm a different kind of candidate. I'm a different kind of campaign, 100% grassroots. My money is earned here. It's donated by everyday people if they can, when they can. It is spent here in local small businesses. And what I want to do is I want to meet you in your homes with your family, your friends, and your colleagues, because I firmly believe people are what matters and not money. And I might be different, but that's what I believe. Thank you.
So let's start with the simple truth that American politics is corrupt and American politics is broken. Elon Musk spent $250 million on Donald Trump's election. That is undemocratic to the core. I have signed the Unrig Washington Pledge from End Citizens United. My last town hall, I released a paper talking about term limits, stock trading for members, getting dark money out of politics. We need to change that urgently. And entrenched politics is just not working. I launched my campaign in June. I'm doing this full time. From day one, I had an incredibly professional and experienced team around me. Folks who know what it means to win races, to flip seats. Victoria over there is from Gloucester County, she's on my team. My fundraising team has worked with Mikey Sherrill and Phil Murphy. My communications lead on my team is the former #2 for the entire Democratic Party in the congressional elections. So we are heavy hitters, and I'm committed. I did 3 events in 3 counties a few days ago, and I know that you cannot do this halfway. And I am proud that I set a record with my fundraising start for a Democrat in this district without a cent of dark money. I've raised money from over 1,300 people, small amounts, larger amounts, because people understand this seat can be flipped. And when it comes to the DCCC and the Democratic Party, they are looking for a campaign that is viable, that is experienced, that has the right infrastructure, is professional and well-resourced. They will not invest in a campaign that cannot stand on its own 2 legs. And that is why, since day one, I built a campaign with an eye towards viability and flipping this seat. And I look forward to talking more about how we need to return integrity to politics, because whether it's Jeff Van Drew or a Democrat, if you are taking PAC money and worried about fundraisers, not your constituents, then you should get the hell out of Congress.
Thank you. Question 2. Affordable housing and transportation are flagged as key barriers to employment, especially for workers who must commute or for younger workers trying to stay in the area. What federal investments or regulatory changes would you advocate for to improve affordable housing, public transit, and other infrastructure that enables local workers to live and stay in the county? The order will be Terri, Bailey, and then Tim.
Thank you. I would push for, and blah, 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 I would push for federal investment into affordable housing projects here. We have 100,000 vacant buildings out of the 400,000 that are eligible for people to reside in. We also have throughout our district a number of commercial properties that are derelict, falling down, and vacant as well. That investment would go to build them into affordable housing units, as well as looking into putting affordable housing units into places that are transportation hubs. Now, one of the things that we need to do with transportation is, and I know that some of the small communities and municipalities are doing it themselves, that they are getting funding and grants from the state to put in their own transportation hubs from Vineland to go to Atlantic City so those workers can go there. And in Salem County, they're doing it so that they can have people get around in their community as well. And I think that's great, but I think that the federal government can do more. I think the state government can do more as well. One of the reasons is, why don't we have a high-speed train line that runs the length of the Garden State Parkway? Think of the congestion that is on that parkway every single summertime when you're coming here or going back north. Why don't we have a shuttle or a train system that runs from the Atlantic City airport into Atlantic City for the casinos, or other ways for them to get to and from places in the district? The federal funding is there, but the problem is we have plenty of money. The government has plenty of money, especially when they install or implement equitable tax reform with the millionaires and billionaires. What we have is a priority problem.
We all know that New Jersey has an affordability crisis across the board. Utility bills, taxes, buying a home, grocery bills. When it comes to taxes, first of all, we can provide relief from the federal government with the property tax burden. That is something I'm committed to, including with credits for first-time home buyers and incentives around affordable housing. When it comes to transportation, we need to have a serious conversation about the state of South Jersey and what Jeff Andrew has done for this district lately, which is a whole lot of nothing. We have money for Argentina, we have money for a presidential ballroom, while the infrastructure here suffers, and that is unacceptable. Congress has the power of the purse. So as your member of Congress, I will use that leverage to secure funding for these projects. I have worked in the government to get things done. I know what it takes to reach across the aisle to negotiate. Jeff Andrew thinks the president is his boss. I think you're my boss, and I want to make life better for you. That includes connecting the dots when it comes to rail, buses, and other modes of transportation across this huge district that has so much more potential than it is being allowed to reach because its representative is failing it. But this affordability crisis is just absolutely crippling our community. I hear it day in and day out. This election, when done right, flipping this seat, it will be a message of affordability. Mikey Sherrill won on that. Other candidates won on that. This week, I'm releasing my affordability platform. People are not just looking for grievances about the headlines and bashing Trump and Van Drew. That is not enough in this moment. So whether it's taxes, infrastructure funding, transportation reform, I commit to you that I will focus on action, not political rhetoric, not political theater. Thank you.
Probably working.
There we go. So I'm going to focus on affordability and housing. I grew up poor. I'm an attorney now. I'm a 27-year law enforcement veteran, but I grew up poor, and I lived in public housing. And the last public housing I lived in was, my mom qualified for a house to be built in 1980 in Vineland. And it was a federal funded program. This program allowed for her to get the house. She had 5 years. 5 years the city managed the program. They withheld a portion of her rent for a down payment for a mortgage. At the end of the 5 years, you had to qualify for a mortgage or you had to move on. My mom worked her butt off. She got the mortgage, she got the house. Some of the conditions of this program was that you had to upkeep the house, meaning you had to take classes. My mom was working 2 jobs. So at 14, I was down in the basement of the housing authority learning how to do simple spackle repairs, gardening, lawn care, and those skills stay with me, and to this day, I still remember those classes. That program, the funding for that program has long since gone. And when I bring it up to some, even congressionals, they don't remember it. But I do, because my family benefited from it. I want to bring that exact program back. It's not a handout. It is a hand up. It's an opportunity for low-income earners to actually afford a house. One of the big things we have to do is on a state level is get rid of this zoning for affordable housing. We cannot, since the Mount Laurel decision, towns have been smart in ways to block affordable housing to be built in their towns. For some reason, they believe that affordable housing equals high crime rate. And we never broke the law in my house. Ultimately, my mom became a sheriff's officer. I was a county detective for Atlantic County Prosecutor's Office, and my daughter was a police officer. So we're 3 generations of law enforcement, all starting with affordable housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Question 3. Across southern New Jersey, families are facing rising healthcare and insurance premiums after Congress allowed enhanced ACA subsidies to expire. For many in CD-2, including small business owners, gig economy workers, and early retirees, these subsidies made coverage affordable. What actions would you take to lower healthcare costs, restore or replace these subsidies, and ensure that working families in this district aren't priced out of essential care? Order, Bailey, Tim, Terry.
To start with, shame on the 8 Democrats in the Senate that caved and went against the interests of the working class when it comes to this healthcare crisis, because they did not get enough to justify a yes vote for that bill. And we are all going to pay the price. I believe that a beautiful bill would be the opposite of what we saw that Jeff Van Drew voted yes for, that passed by 1 vote. A beautiful bill is a bill that taxes billionaires more in order to fund Medicaid more. And I will also push for Medicare to be expanded to include dental, hearing, and vision. Medicare cannot just be about some parts of your health, it has to be comprehensive. When it comes to these tax credits, the stakes are simply too high. 22 million people across this country are going to see their premiums double, in some cases triple. And that is unacceptable. It is a clear case of a system that is serving the wrong interests. The interests of big pharma, the interests of insurance companies, not the interest of working families trying to get by. So, when it comes to this, I commit to you that I will not yield when it comes to Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. Jeff Van Drew promised to protect Medicaid and then voted to gut it. So what is going to happen when Trump tells him, hey Jeff, I have an idea about Medicare. You think Jeff is going to look out for South Jersey in that moment? We know that he will not. I have spoken with doctors, with hospital community members, with rural clinics about the fact that hospitals are going to close down because they cannot keep up. Their margins are too low, they're losing staff, our entire system is being affected. And the other day I talked to an Uber driver and he said, my problem with Medicaid is it only helps if you're a poor person. And I thought to myself, what is wrong with that vision? We need Medicaid because a rising tide lifts all of us when it comes to healthcare. Healthcare is not optional. Thank you.
So again, I'm going to stay focused on the topic. How do we have affordable healthcare in this country? I think flattery is the greatest form of compliment. So since 2021, I've been talking about improvements to Medicare, that your eyes, your teeth, and your ears are all part of your body and it should be one plan. But let's talk about this. How do we pay for it? In fact, every single proposal I make to you tonight, I have a method for paying for it. And any politician that puts anything forward and can't tell you how they're going to pay for it, they ought not have said it in the first place. So with respect to healthcare, yes, as I've been advocating since 2021, I want to open up Medicare for everyone. I want to keep the insurances. Thank you. Keep the insurances where they are. The insurance companies have a monopoly on healthcare. They're posting record profits. We open up Medicare for everyone, regardless of your age, and let you buy into it before you're old enough to qualify for it. And this way, young folks such as my youngest child is paying into it. She doesn't need it as much as I do. I'm paying into it. I don't need as much as my 86-year-old mother did. So the reality is that more money coming in, less money going out makes Medicare stronger. As far as Medicaid, it is not just for poor people. It is for people with disabilities, as I was telling you about my daughter earlier, who had to have a heart transplant. She was 33, and that insurance saved her life. It saved her from going into medical bankruptcy, or in this case, us, because we were taking that debt. And it was a loophole that allowed her to qualify for that. January 2026, Trump's big BS bill closes the loophole. And as far as the tax on Medicare, they start in November of 2026. Read the bill, folks. This is already done. There's no new future plans. They have written this into law, and it's a big sham when they say we haven't touched your Medicare. They haven't touched it yet. And so the fight is making sure that we undo this nonsense and we get enough people in the House to flip it back and make this work.
I was very fortunate when I was growing up because my mother was an OR nurse at Atlantic City Medical Center, now known as AtlantiCare. And whenever my brother, my sister, or I needed any kind of treatment, because she was an OR nurse, she got what was known as a professional courtesy. So we were able to go to the doctors whenever we needed to. We were able to get whatever it was that we needed. I had to have surgery at one point in time, and it was all done under the guise of professional courtesy. That doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist anymore because we know that the health insurance companies are running a for-profit healthcare system. We're the only industrialized country that does not offer universal health care for its citizens, and that is wrong. I agree with both of my colleagues that we need to have comprehensive health care that covers the eyes, the teeth, and the ears as well. But one thing that they're missing is mental health, because your brain is a huge part of your body. My daughter suffers from significant mental behavioral health issues, and it is always a struggle to try and get her the help that she needs. Her psychiatrist appointment, or her psychiatrist does not take health insurance, period, and it's $190 every 3 months. And for somebody who only works a part-time job, that's a pretty steep bill for a young woman to have to pay. My son, when he was working, also had to, at times, rely on the state Medicaid areas where he worked because he was working for the national park systems or he was working for state park systems. This shouldn't happen. People shouldn't have to worry about losing their health insurance because they lose their job. They shouldn't have to worry about not being able to get the care that they need because they have a pre-existing illness, and we know that that happens. And you shouldn't have to fight for your benefits when you have them. How many people have had to constantly appeal a decision that was made by somebody who doesn't understand what your life is, what your health is, and they just decide because policy is to turn you down until you fight back hard enough and they finally say yes. I'm a proponent for universal health care. I know that we have to start small to get there. Medicare for All is a wonderful option to start that, but we need to do better.
Thank you. We'll now move on to the individual questions. Again, each response can be 2 minutes. The first question is for Tim. In 2022 and 2024, we lost CD-2 by double digits. What did those campaigns have in common that led us to lose, and what will you do differently this time?
Well, the first time I ran, I was the Democratic nominee. And it was my first time running for Congress or any office, quite honestly. So we learned a lot of lessons on what went wrong. How did Jeff beat us so badly? He's so highly unpopular. One of our analysis is that there was a lot of Democrats still voting for Jeff. And how do we reach those people in the future? And what we failed to do, we've absolutely failed to do, is bring in the independents. We didn't go after them, we went after Democrats, we harped, turn out the vote, turn out the vote, turn out the vote, when we had the largest pool of voters sitting right there, and we didn't attract them. So I can't speak for the 2024 election. That was a different candidate. I can tell you I lost a primary by 400 votes. It was a significant investment by my challenger to win the primary under the guise that he and he alone could raise the money. He didn't raise the money necessary, and we lost in that race. This election is different. This election, we decided when we started this thing, when I agreed to do it, that we're going to go after everybody. We're going to go after the moderate Republicans. We're going to go after the independents. We're going to go after the far left. We want everybody to come in because the truth of the matter is, I will not be, I'm a Democrat who wins. I'm not the Democratic congressman, meaning I will be everyone's congressman. And I will represent everyone, and I will listen to everyone. Will I take on MAGA ideas? Of course not. but the reality is that everybody has an opportunity to be heard, and where we find good ideas, we'll run with them, and we hear bad ideas, we'll explain why we can't. The goal, to answer the question, I'd like to be succinct, is reaching across the district in areas that we never did before, and reaching people that we basically abandoned in many ways. And if you look at the numbers, we have mostly more Democrats than Republicans, but independents are more than both. Thank you.
Thank you. Question is for Terri. CD-2 has one of the highest concentrations of veterans in the state, many of whom rely on an already strained VA system. How would you work to improve local access to healthcare, mental health treatment, housing support, and job opportunities for veterans? And what reforms or investments do you believe are most urgently needed at the federal level?
Thank you. My dad was a Navy veteran, and I remember the issues that he had signing up for his VA benefits and being able to access them in Northfield, even though we have a VA clinic not far from our home, as well as one of the county clinics right down the street on the other side. There are three things that I think should never be partisan: seniors, children, and veterans. And it's appalling to me that our government officials will lump veterans who receive so many benefits because they've earned them. They've earned them with their blood, their sweat, their tears, their body parts left on the field, and even their lives. We owe them a huge debt, and it's the least thing that our government can do to provide them with the benefits they so rightly deserve and earned. We need robust federal funding. Again, a lot of it is we don't have a money problem, we have a priority problem, and unfortunately, veterans are very low on the totem pole, along with seniors and children. We need to invest significantly in improving their health care, their access to health care, especially their access to mental health care, because we know that that is a huge problem. They also, what I would like to see happen is people discuss mental health more robustly and not have it be stigmatized as much as it is, because we lose at one point 22 veterans a day to suicide. Why are they falling through the cracks? Why are veterans homeless? Why can't we invest in public housing for our veterans so they're not homeless? It's something that we need to do at the federal level and the state level as well, and I would take federal funding to invest in veteran housing, veteran health care, and specifically robust mental health care where they are seen regularly to address their needs.
Thank you. Thank you. CD-2 spans multiple counties with small, spread out communities, reminding us that land doesn't vote, people do. Past campaigns have struggled to stay connected across the district, build grassroots momentum, or engage voters meaningfully, both in person and online. How will you balance the on-the-ground travel required to understand every community's needs with modern communication and social media strategies that reach voters of all ages? And what will you do differently to ensure that even our most rural or remote residents feel seen, heard, and actively included in your campaign?
This district sometimes feels like a few districts within one. We have the shore, we have the Pine Barrens, we have the Delaware Bay. It is huge. I am doing this full time, and I know that because the odometer on my red Chevy keeps going up and up and up and up every single day. You cannot cover this district halfway. That is why I have the team around me. That is why I do this full time. And that is why I am holding town halls and events all over the district. Look at the numbers. We have a viable case here. We flipped 3 counties for Mikey Sherrill, but you cannot underestimate a single voter within NJ2. I've gone to farmers, I've gone to union members, I've gone to folks who frankly tell me to go away, and I say, can I please talk to you for a few minutes, please? I did a TikTok interview last week. I did an interview with a small family farm where we shot BB guns in between questions, which was fun. And this past weekend, literally yesterday, one of America's largest media organizations was with me on the campaign trail. You'll see that footage coming out in the next 2 weeks. I know that to reach people today, you cannot use stale and tired political tactics. You have to meet people where they are. And frankly, if I'm only talking to Democratic clubs, I'm not doing my job and I'm handing Jeff Andrew a path to easy victory. You cannot only go to comfortable places. If everyone I talk to loves USAID and is sad it got dismantled, I am not talking to the right people fully. So, I am reaching people where they are, standing outside of ShopRites, holding town halls, holding different forums. And I'll tell you, I posted about Jeffrey Epstein and Jeff Andrew and 100,000 people saw that post. You have to lean into what people care about. It's what they care about, not what I care about, not what Washington cares about. I have the benefit of having an understanding of technology and the way the world works that some candidates do not. I have the team to help me supercharge that, and I'm ready to keep forging ahead and making sure that no one is taken for granted in this process.
Thank you. Okay, so this is now our rapid fire round. It's a little bit different. There are 4 questions. They're short, they're kind of light, and you each have 10 seconds to answer. Please do not think about this too much. Like, the first thing that comes to mind, okay? And we're just gonna go down the line, like you go first time, you go first the second time. Okay, all right, so, Billy, if your campaign has a theme song, what will it be?
I'm a deadhead. It would be Truckin' by the Grateful Dead because I'm on the road covering the whole district.
Terry?
Put a Woman in Charge by Keb Mo.
We Are Winners by The Impressions.
All right, so, rapid fire number 2. Terry, you go first. Oh, okay. All right, what book are you reading right now?
I'm reading The Book of Joy by the Dalai Lama.
Executive Decision by, oh my God, the Jack Ryan series, Executive Decision. It's an old one. Tom Clancy, thank you.
I'm reading a biography of Teddy Roosevelt because it makes me think of an era where politics was not about corporations and billionaires, it was about working people across this country.
Number 3. Tim, you go first on this one. All right. If you were a superhero, who would be your arch-nemesis? And you cannot say Donald Trump or Jeff Andrew.
If I'm a superhero, I think the greatest arch enemy of all comic books is the Joker from Batman. Reminds me of
Thanos from Marvel.
Elon Musk because he's trying to destroy our country and he put through a wood chipper the place that I loved working at USAID.
This one, it's going to tempt you to take more than 10 seconds. Please resist the urge, okay? All right. Last rapid fire question. One thing that voters would be surprised to learn about you. You go first.
Voters would be surprised to learn about me that I'm someone who has had a background in public service, and that's really important, but I also got an MBA and worked at a small business. Done. So I know a thing about business as well.
I own my own set of boxing gloves and I throw a really mean right cross.
Love you.
I've been married for 38 years and have 3 wonderful children.
God bless you.
Well, that concludes our questions. So now we're going to move to closing remarks. Bailey, you will go first, followed by Tim, and then Terry. Thank you. As a reminder, you have 1 minute. I know it's hard. You guys can do it.
I like the accountability here. We could use more of this in Congress, that's for sure. Well, thank you all so much. We have seen in the past month that we have a path to victory, that South Jersey is turning. The job now is to keep that momentum going. I am fired up. I will reach you where you are. I will go to places other candidates do not. I'm doing a food drive next week in Atlantic City with Pastor Collins Days because what is happening with SNAP is unacceptable. I'm releasing my affordability platform this week because we don't just need to talk about what's going wrong, we need to talk about solutions. And I am committed to a campaign that is locally driven, viable, professional, and full on. And I would be honored to partner with you in this effort. We have a chance to send Jeff Andrew packing. It is going to take something special, but I know that if we work together, we can kick in the hell out of Congress and get back to real leadership in Washington. So thank you, and I'm excited to work with you.
As I said in the beginning, experience matters. I've never stopped working for the people of CD2. I'm a civil rights attorney. I'm also a civil rights activist. I have helped people all over this district. I've never taken a break. I have never stopped. When campaigns come around, I jump in for other candidates. It is a constant presence, not one that, quite frankly, I didn't move here 8 months ago. You heard my story. I've been living here most of my life. My children were born and raised here. We still live here. I mean, this is about CD2. It's our district. My wife's from Salem County. I'm from Cumberland County. We've lived in Atlantic County. I think we hit at least half the counties in this district. But the reality is that I am in the district. I am of the district. I know the pains of the people. I have spoken to every walk of life in this district, and I have walked many of the shoes of people in this district. I have never been rich in my life. I have never had anything handed to me. The bottom line is I am of the people because I am one of the people.
So, what is it called when you do the same thing over and over and over again and you expect a different result? Insanity. Anyone? Insanity. So, that's why I'm different. I am the most different candidate that is running for this office. I'm not a career politician. I don't have experience in public office. What I do have experience in are the struggles and challenges and the storms that my fellow neighbors in CD2 have weathered. I've conquered them. I've done research on how to make things better. The things that I've learned in my varied career, as well as being a single mom and a caregiver, is I've learned how to build relationships, real, true, lifelong, solid relationships. I've learned how to troubleshoot down to what the root cause is. And I've learned how to build viable, concrete solutions that stand the test of time and not Band-Aids. And that's what I will take to Congress, along with the memories and the thoughts and the hearts of all of my constituents and neighbors. Thank you.